Hello, welcome to the Commence Entertainment Podcast. Name still pending. I'm your host this week, Luke, and I'm joined by...
Jacob!
Yeah, it's us two yet again. It hasn't changed.
You sound so downtrodden by that.
It's just that it feels like when we introduce it, it is as if there's a new person every week. Hello, my name is so and today I'm hosting it. It's like, oh yeah, it's the same as the other week and the week before, and yeah, there's nothing wrong with it. It just makes it sound like we've got different people on each week, which we really don't.
No.
Future plan though. Lots of
We're
things.
meant to, but you keep having it on a Wednesday.
Yeah, well, nothing like a middle of the week podcast. I enjoy it.
No, I agree,
Yeah.
but the guy that we were potentially having on, hopefully, works in the middle of the week.
That's not my fault. He's got responsibilities. I'm joking.
No.
Right.
So-
So there's a fair few things that have happened this week. We're gonna start off with something that's a little bit not so light-hearted. And have you seen the Charlottesville protests and violence in America?
No, I haven't.
You haven't, right?
I need to look at the news more.
Sit down and prepare yourself for a little bit of Luke's story time.
Cool.
So,
Love Luke's story time.
in Charlottesville, in Virginia, there is a statue to General Robert Lee, who commanded the pro-slavery Confederate forces in the American Civil War, and
Yep.
it was commissioned to be anti-racist and stuff like. I think you'd call them alt-right groups. Wanted it torn down because it's a symbol for slavery. We'll get round to why I think that's stupid in a minute. And they wanted it torn down, and everyone that is basically a racist, so the KKK, the white supremacists, all those lovely people, they were like, no, that he's part of our heritage and stuff like that. We don't want it taken down. So there was an organised protest for them, for the white supremacists and stuff like that. A peaceful one, but protests are never peaceful. And obviously the anti-racists and the alt-right people were there to oppose them, and things kind of got out of hand. There was violence. Obviously violence broke out. There was fighting and stuff like that. And then the worst thing that happened was someone took a car and ran it through the anti-racist group, I think.
Jesus.
There was a woman killed and 19 injured. And then the thing that really got people riled up was obviously when things like that happen, the president usually has to give like a speech, like a new, and he did that, and he was told to only talk about infrastructure and all that stuff, which I think would have been wrong. And he did, but that would have been wrong to just talk about that, considering the violence that just happened. But he turned around and said that basically there was blame on both sides, and people got really annoyed by that because obviously everyone's against the white supremacists, which is fair enough. I'm against them too, but I do agree to a certain extent that there was violence on both sides, and I'm not sure who started the violence, but it escalated to a point that violence just broke out. So I'm sure fists were flying on both sides in terms of like defending themselves and causing the violence. But going back to the statue being a symbol of racism, it was the same in Bristol. Colston Hall housed lots of slaves and stuff like that, and they wanted that torn down. Which is
is it John Col? I forget his name. Colston, whatever his name, made his money in slavery. That's the problem.
Well, yeah, and you can't rip down the Colston Hall because it's a symbol for something else now, and it's used for a lot. It's like a landmark.
They wanted to rename it.
And it's the same with Queen Square. There's a there's a customs house on it. There isn't a customs house anymore, I don't think. But back in ye old pirate times, there was one there for all the trade that came in, which included slavery. They'd pay out for it through there, and it would be processed through there. So in that respect,
everything was.
And obviously, it's called a customs house because it's customs. It's not named after anyone. So if it's technically you should knock that down then. Or
no, okay, no, right, okay, yeah, carry on. Sorry, I jumped the gun there.
if people want to get rid of symbols of racism and stuff like that, then a lot of Bristol would have to be either renamed or buildings would have to be torn down because of slavery was a worldwide money-making business back then. So, I think putting a statue up in the same city of someone who stood for equality and stuff like that would be a good idea. Somewhat a newer statue to commemorate someone like that. But I don't think ripping down, because it's still history, and if we started if we always got rid of things of history that were bad, we'd never learn from our mistakes. So we can.
Those who forget the past are doomed to repeat it.
That was it. Who said that? It was.
I can't remember.
Have a look.
Remember where I saw it, but it's not something I would be happy bringing up at this point.
Type in your Google. Type into your good friend Google and find out who said it. Because I think, and it's also, you can either look at it as, oh, he stood for slavery and racism, all that bad stuff, or you can look at it as, I know we still have people that are racist and Nazi sympathizers and KKK and stuff like that, but you could look at that statue and go, look how far we've come from that. Because slavery is banned isn't it banned all over the world? I think it's
no, it's not. It's not universally banned. There's still. I don't want to say rampant, though. I think that might actually be correct. Slavery in India and the Middle East, I do believe.
Is there it? What?
Yes. I don't know facts or details, but I'm pretty sure in an RE lesson we were talking about it, that it's not evident or apparent or widely acknowledged. It's more of it's massively an underground thing.
Oh, right.
It's not part of culture, but it still happens.
But it's still there, right, yeah. Most of the world has rid itself of that.
Yeah.
So I think people should look at those kind of places and think that, rather than thinking, oh, however many years ago, when I wasn't even around, there was slavery. Yes, it was bad, but it's not where I live now. There isn't any slavery, so that's a good thing. So I think, and it's a part of history now. It happened. You can't undo it. And I don't think what would tearing the statue down do? I don't think it would do anything. You still have people like members of the Ku Klux Klan, Nazi sympathizers, stuff like that. That wouldn't, tearing down statues and renaming buildings that represented slavery and stuff like that wouldn't get rid of those people. It wouldn't change anything.
No, and so another thing is, General Lee was not a slaver. He may have supported slavery, that's fair enough, but so did the entire or majority of the country at that time, if not slightly before. Same in Britain. It was an accepted thing. So the statue is not there, as far as I know, correct me if I'm wrong, the statue is not there to commemorate his efforts in maintaining slavery. It's there to commemorate his efforts in the War of Independence, right?
The Civil War, yes.
Civil War, thank you. My bad. At which point, they're looking at the statue completely wrong. And it's... So you bring up the Colston Hall was...
Mr. Colston.
Yeah. Cabot Circus was originally going to be called Colston something, I believe.
Oh, really?
Again, never take my word for fact.
Quote me.
Never quote me.
Yeah.
Always check first. But yes, I'm pretty sure it was meant to be a Colston establishment first, because it was his money built some of the buildings it occupies, or something like that.
Yeah.
But people complained that, he was a slaver, so you can't call it that. When he was much more than a slaver. He was a businessman and an entrepreneur, and he helped build Bristol as it is. Well, not quite as it is today, but as it was at the time. Some of that money was made by slavery, fair enough. But we accept these days that slavery is wrong. There is no two ways about it. It is wrong. And people have recently, as in the last couple of years, been calling for apologies or reparations for slavery done to their people from Britain. Might be the government, might be particular organisations, I'm not sure. But
wait, who's been asking for apologies?
I see, again, don't know exact. I can't remember. It's within the last few years, so it's stuff that's somewhat faded from my memory. But I remember my dad talking and being very vocal about it, because it's something he is very not very vocal about.
Well,
but
just
very
like
opinionated
just
about.
to narrow it down, was it like a country or was it like a people? I would assume it was.
I think it was
a people. A people, surely. Well, it could have been a country.
I think it was a country. I can't remember. It was in the news, and so the point is that opinions have changed. You and I have never owned slaves.
Nope.
We would never consider it.
Nope.
Especially, like, on a racial point, where, so we're not going to say that, or we wouldn't consider black people are slaves. We just, people are people.
Yeah.
So why should we apologise for what happened, I think it's 200-300 years ago?
We shouldn't apologise.
No, 1600s, wasn't it?
It was like...
Was it abolished in 1600s?
It was started around that time, yeah, but it wasn't completely cut out to like the 17 or 1800s, like completely
Was that it, right?
like eradicated. It took a while for it to go through because it kept. They'd like agree to not do it, and then people would start doing it again. It kind of was a bit of a mess.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Well, while I was researching my book for my graphic design course, I was.
Oh yeah.
They started it, and it would be like, yeah, like a year or so went by, and they stopped doing it, and then people started bringing more slaves in because they were fighting, and all that stuff.
Right.
It was.
It's the same with anything. If it's common practice, it's hard to stop.
You're talking about we shouldn't be blamed for what our ancestors did, and it was something. It was still a TV show, but she still said it. Daenerys said it when she was talking to Jon Snow for the first time. Don't judge. Don't put the sins of your father on the daughter or something like that, or don't judge. Don't judge me on what my father did. The same here. Don't. Yes, people did bad things in the past, but that we weren't there. We didn't choose to do that. That's not us anymore. I think an apology is stupid. That it sounds like the kind of thing where, classic case of, you do something, you're in a relationship and you do something wrong. But you all figure it out, and then like a couple months down the line, if you fall out again or have an argument, she might bring it up. Same thing here. We did something bad, however many hundred years ago, and now they're saying, right, you need to apologise for that. We didn't do anything wrong.
No.
We haven't done anything. We weren't even alive then. We were nothing. Our parents weren't there. Our
my father wasn't even a twinkle in his father's eye.
Exactly. That kind of thing is stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah, the violence was horrible, and I think the worst part was the guy getting in the car. I think things getting heated and stuff, it was going to happen anyway, because as soon as the violence started, like, the police came in and shut it down. It's like, no, we're not having any of that. But then obviously the car came through, which was the worst part.
People get vocal and people get violent. That just happens, and that can be dealt with.
There's two
that's terrorism.
It's two very big personalities and opinions, very very completely polar opposite opinions clashing, so obviously it's going to get heated. Even though they technically hate each other, I don't think violence should have broken out. Although the people that usually go to protests, the violence that happens is usually done by people that aren't there to protest; they're just there to cause violence.
Yes,
but I can imagine that people on both sides of those, especially the white supremacists, I'd say that they can be very violent anyway. They're quite violent people, so yeah. But I haven't seen it, so I don't.
Well, be careful. You're stereotyping there.
Well, from what I've seen, from all the protests, the white supremacist protests I've seen, they tend to be filled with people that can get very violent.
Okay.
That's not stereotype, that's fact. I've seen loads of on the news before and stuff like that where it started because on the white supremacist side and stuff like that they have.
Still stereotyping, but never mind.
Well, they should.
But yeah.
Yeah, it was horrible, and I was going to say something else, but I can't remember what I was going to say. Because I interjected with Game of Thrones, we're going to talk about that now, because that's a little bit more fun. Have you seen the newest episode?
Yes, I have.
You have?
You know I have. I've been talking to you about it.
Oh yeah, you're talking to me about it. So
I was giving you a commentary as I watched it.
You were commenting. Yeah. Still, I want to say it to you over voice. Fuck you, because I was right. Bronn did tackle Jaime off the horse.
You did.
I said it was him because he saw him.
Did we talk about that in a podcast?
He saw him running towards him. That's why it moved and then it cut and then he tackled him off. So.
Oh, and I would like to interject, and this isn't at you. This is at everyone else.
Yeah.
Going. Oh, but that river wasn't very deep when he was running through it. Yeah, no shit. It was metaphorical. You muppet. When Bronn drags Jaime out in this episode, where at the very beginning, it's very obvious that river wasn't very deep, and his sinking was very metaphorical.
People just take things for face value, though, don't they?
Yes, exactly.
People don't. It's weird because I can get pretty good at seeing things like that and looking, like doing the reading between the lines things. But I remember like before when I'd watch stuff and I'd watch a film and see it for what it is or a TV program, and then I'd see something on the internet saying this meant this, and you go back and watch it and be like, holy shit, like it.
Yeah.
You see it completely differently. What happened in the episode? What do you think about? Do you believe Cersei is pregnant?
She effectively said so I see no reason to doubt it. It's happened before. But go on.
But as soon as I heard her say it, it made me think she's lying. And why would she be lying? Well, she knew Jaime was betrayed her, inverted commas there. Because technically he was actually trying to help in a weird way, but I think she did.
He did nothing wrong. He got ambushed.
Yeah, but he could have killed Tyrion there.
As Tyrion pointed out, it would have taken a very long time with a sparring sword.
But he still could have done it. That's the point. If Cersei was in that place, she probably would have murdered him. Point being that she said she was pregnant to bring Jaime back onto her side, like fully.
Yeah, to keep him loyal.
To keep him at her side, yeah, basically. And I think because when at the end of the hug, she says, "And don't ever betray me again." I think, and she didn't seem like the smirking and stuff and her facial expressions when she was hugging makes me think that she's lying. And I think this goes on to. I only saw the article headline about it. I didn't read it, which is a shame. But it was about Jaime being Azor Ahai, the prince that was promised, or the savior, because I think it was like in High Valyrian, the god of light the god of light is the wrong translation. It actually means the golden hand or something like that, I think.
Oh, nice.
So, and who's got the most golden hand in all of Westeros?
He's literally got a hand made of gold.
But I was just thinking, imagine that kind of story arc where he was all the way to here. At some point, he finds out Cersei isn't pregnant. She's lied to him, and she starts to because he's already kind of like iffy about how she's been going about things anyway. So imagine he finds out that she lied about it, right?
Yeah.
And that pushes him away even further, and he joins. I think he'll find out that if she has lied, because you don't know it's true, you don't know whether it is true or not. Probably assume that it is true, but if it is a lie, imagine they bring an example of a white down there.
Yeah.
He finds out she's lied. They bring that, and I think he'd then go off with them to help. And Cersei would disagree, but I think he'd go off with them and go, "Well, we need to fight this now because it's real, isn't it?" But she's gonna go, or she's gonna pretend she's believing it, and then there's gonna be like some kind of ambush or something. But I think he'll go with them to help.
Yeah.
Because while he was spending time with Brienne, he kind of softened up a little bit after he lost his hand.
You can tell that he can be honourable and can do the right thing and not just live under Cersei's thumb.
Well, he's not a bad person either. He killed the Mad King, even though he was supposed to protect him. He allowed, what's her name, Tyrell, Marjorie's mum.
Olenna.
He allowed her a a painless death just with poison. So he is a
And
nice.
then regretted it
Yeah,
instantly.
She's the biggest badass, but he was still nice. He's still a nice character.
Yes.
He just paired with one of the meanest. But I think he'd go off and fight with them. I think that would be a thing.
Yeah.
I think he will, because I think it will come to a point where they actually come to clash, and he'll disagree fully with Cersei, and he'll go off without her.
If she's not pregnant, I think you'll very easily be swayed
to just not trust her anymore. And
yeah,
you've lied to me about this. You lied to me about this. Tyrion came to me and has told me the truth about this. I'm going to side with him. Because I think the only reason he is with her is because he loves her, and that's it. I don't think he agrees with her on most things.
Or I think more easily he'll just go, well, look at this shit.
Yeah.
We have to fight this monster, the whites, the White Walkers. Thank you.
The Night King.
Because does he have a Valyrian sword?
No.
No. Because Joffrey, I remember right, his father took... Tywin took Ned's sword and melted either Ned's or Robert's, which was Valyrian steel, and made 2 more out of it. One of which Jaime gave... He gave to Jaime, who then gave to Brienne. But Joffrey also had one. So where's that now?
I honestly don't know. I'm pretty sure he doesn't have a Valyrian. I'm pretty sure he doesn't have a Valyrian sword. But obviously, I can't remember back. I can't really remember most of the other seasons, but I'm pretty sure he doesn't have. Pretty sure he doesn't have one. I think if he goes up north, I think if he goes up north with them, he'll get a. If he doesn't have the Valyrian sword, that is, he'll get some kind of dragon glass weapon.
Oh yeah.
I think they'll give him like a cool badass dragon glass sword or something.
Yeah, we were talking about Gendry getting a Valyrian hammer.
Oh yeah.
I think it'd be much cooler if he got a dragon glass hammer.
Oh, that'd be
just
cool,
an obsidian head to his hammer.
Well, that'd look cool because his hammer's already black, isn't it? So
exactly,
just be an upgrade to that. That'd be so cool. So also talking about Game of Thrones, did you see that hackers got hold of the
next episode?
Technically, this week's episode.
Hold on. From what I saw, hackers didn't get hold of it.
No,
HBO broadcast,
and they started leaking it. So HBO leaked it instead.
Oh right.
So hackers were like, we're going to leak it, and they started leaking it, I think, and then HBO were like, oh no, the full episode's leaked. Oh no.
Really?
It spread like wildfire on the internet. I'm not gonna watch it. I'm gonna wait till it's on normally, because otherwise, then it's a longer wait until the next episode. If I watch it now, there's nothing on Sunday, and there's nothing. I have to wait till next Sunday. So if I wait till this Sunday and watch it actually when it's supposed to be on, and then it's just another week until it's on again.
It's not technically on Sundays, not in Britain. It's on Monday morning at 2:00 in the morning.
Well, yeah, whatever. I mean, I watch it on catch up, so I watch it Monday morning, but
yeah, I know.
I don't watch it live.
Me too.
But
I watched it last night.
I don't think I can't understand why people do stuff like that. And I can't remember one of the cast was talking about on Game of Thrones. I think was it Game of Thrones cast member? It was. He was.
Stealing...
It was the guy who plays Podrick. He talked about, because obviously there's lots of theories about like different ways it's going to end and stuff like that, and he said on a podcast that he was on, you're wasting your energy because either you're not going to be able to figure it out because you just won't be able to because you have no idea, or you are going to figure it out and you're just going to ruin the ending for yourself. So people should just, I don't know, it's really interesting to talk about, like, oh, how will it end? Well, I don't think, like how we're talking about, like, oh, it'd be cool if this happened or cool if this happened. We're not actually. He was taking a dig at people that make actual theories because it's just a waste of time. Why not just wait and enjoy the show and enjoy the ending that's going to be? Because it is going to be great. The show's been fantastic, so why would the ending be fantastic?
Because you're not ruining the ending. Because you can find all the facts, you can find all the hidden messages, and you can expect the ending to be something, but you can never guarantee it. You can never find everything and be, it's definitely going to be this.
Yeah, but
maybe you can. Maybe there's enough little bits here and there for you to actually know that. But if you do make a theory, a guess, when it comes to it, and you're right, you're going to be there like, well, I guessed it. I got it right.
That's what I mean. That won't be as satisfying though.
Yeah, well, that would be more satisfying.
No, it wouldn't. I'd hate that. If I guessed the ending right perfectly or something, or got it pretty fucking close, right?
Yeah.
And it came to the ending and it was that, I'd be pretty disappointed because I'd be like, well, I knew that, like, however, a year ago when I wrote that theory or something, rather than just not talk about it like we're talking about. Oh, maybe this will happen. It'd be cool if this happened. Not really theorizing anything, like the theories that are out there on the internet.
We're just making guesses and
just enjoy
sharing thoughts. Yeah,
some of the stuff we've talked about, like. Also, some of the, like, even when we talk about like films, like Infinity War, stuff like that, like we've come up with ideas that have no basis on anything that's happened. We're just like, that would be cool if that happened, or imagine if you did this, or imagine if you did that. It just,
yeah.
I do believe that you should just sit and enjoy it for what it is, and rather than try to figure out how it's going to happen, or who's going to do this, or who's going to do that, just enjoy it and watch his episode and wait for the ending.
Okay, in which case, are you a person that hates spoilers?
Yes.
Right. See, so that shows me that we're of different minds, because I don't mind spoilers. If someone tells me how something's going to end, I'm fine with that. Because it's never about the ending, it's about the journey. But that doesn't really matter.
The journey is made less by the fact that you know what the ending is.
Occasionally.
Again, it depends.
So,
go on.
Jon Snow dying. Way back when?
Season 5, I think?
Yeah. Actually, we're only in season 6, aren't we?
No, we're in season 7.
Yeah. We all knew he wasn't dead. So, though you see those people stab him, and at which point you start to wonder, well, okay, what's going to happen next? We know that Jon's going to live, because everyone will stop watching this show if he doesn't. So how are they going to bring him back? How is this going to happen? I've been watching Suits recently, and I was watching the part, spoilers if you haven't watched Suits and you want to, where Mike is in prison. And I knew Mike was going to get out of prison because my dad told me. But I still found it interesting, even when it got to the end. Because, actually, I can't exactly tell you why, because I don't quite know. But it's still interesting to me. So I guess it's a case of people of different mindsets. So you would hate perfectly theorizing the ending. I would love it. I'd be there like, fuck you all, I guess this 2 years ago or whatever. I would find it more satisfying to have worked out. I'm the kind of person that watches a murder mystery and is trying to guess the culprit the entire time.
Alright, Agatha Christie. I don't have such a problem with reading theories on it because we won't know until the ending. And if it comes to it, I'll still be. If I'm just reading, I don't go and look up theories. But if I see one or two that other people have posted and talked about, and I'll read a little bit into them maybe. I don't mind theories as much because they're just theories. But I don't like spoilers. So I was halfway through Game of Thrones season 5, the one where Jon Snow dies at the end, and I didn't know because I started watching Game of Thrones like way after it started, and I was way behind. And I knew there was something called the Red Wedding, but I didn't know what happened in it, and I stayed away from as many Game of Thrones themed things as I could, and I managed to not spoil it, and I got to it. That was incredible to see it for the first time. I knew it to really know about it. And the same with Jon Snow dying. I had no idea what the end of that series was going to be, and because I watched it a lot to catch up, so I was almost catching up, and season 5 had just ended when I was halfway through, so I was catching up. I was about halfway through, and it was just there's a meme page on Facebook that's called Game of Laughs that posts stuff about Game of Thrones, and someone had liked it. And sometimes you see stuff that your friends like, and sometimes you don't. And a picture had been liked of Jon Snow dead on the floor with stab wounds saying, "We'll miss you." I was just scrolling through Facebook and instantly one day and I see it. I was like, well, that fucking ruins it. it's not that it. I still watch the rest of season 5 because I want to, because the episodes are still interesting. But knowing the ending, it's like if you watch a movie. That's why it takes a while for me to watch a movie again if I've already seen it once. Because if you watch a movie for the first time not knowing what the ending is, and whether the ending's good or bad, whether the film's good or bad, you still want to know the ending. You're still watching all the way through and going, well, how's this going to end? Or is anyone going to die? Or are they going to defeat this person? Or, whatever. But knowing the ending to a movie, you sit there and go, you're watching all this and going, well, I know that she dies, he runs away, that house gets blown up, stuff like that. And it makes the journey less fun. I'm not saying the journey isn't fun anyway, because it is. I still enjoy watching a film I know the ending to, because it's like, oh, that's really cool, that was really cool, yeah, that's really sad, whatever. But still,
I quite often enjoy a film more the second time round, knowing the ending. Like, you spot more, there's these little details that you didn't see the first time.
Yeah, I agree, noticing the little details is fun, because you watch it, the second time you watch it, because you know what's happening, you start looking for other things. Because obviously the first time you're watching, you're just taking in everything, and oh my god, there's people are shooting each other, there's people throwing fireballs, whatever. I agree, it is fun watching it another time, realising something you didn't see in the first one, but I don't like spoiling it, and I don't really see why people have to spoil things. I don't, if they went and enjoyed it, do you not want other people to enjoy it? Why would you? I'd hate to go to see a film, and then, like a big film or a highly anticipated one, and then come back and then try and spoil it for everyone. There's no...
So, there's a big difference between intentionally spoiling something and sharing it with your friends. So if your friends haven't seen episode 5 of Game of Thrones season 7, going to them, oh, he burns the Tarleys. That's a spoiler. Going, posting on Facebook, I saw a picture of, isn't it lovely having a family barbecue? And it's a picture of
with
Dickon and what's his face standing there, and then them being set on fire. That's enjoying it with your friends, being able to share jokes and things that, to be honest, if I hadn't seen it, would spoil it. I saw a picture of just after Dany landed in Dragon Rock or whatever, and Drogon walks up to Jon and basically practically nuzzles him.
Mm-hmm.
I saw a picture of that actually on the same page on Facebook. And so that could have been a spoiler. It wasn't a massive plot point, but it's actually a very important moment, because
I was going to say that there's the underlying stuff that is super.
Yeah, like Drogon wasn't nasty to Jon, didn't growl at him, didn't do anything, and Dany was extremely surprised when Drogon just went hello. Because he's fucking Drogon and he kills everyone. And so that's sharing it with your friends. That's enjoying maybe something you noticed, maybe something you liked, and it's different to spoiling it.
Yeah,
when you say it, it's wrong to just go, Drogon likes Jon. It's if someone hasn't seen it, spoilers. But you've got to be aware of the difference.
People just need to. Yeah, I agree. Sharing the stuff with your friends and all that stuff, like, I'm joking about the same thing is fine, but that's different to someone going, and I don't understand why people try and, accidental or not, well, like when Star Wars, the episode 7 came out, and people were online spoiling that, and they managed to keep it under wraps pretty good, and I didn't see any spoilers for it. Although it wasn't the biggest spoiler, it wasn't the biggest, plot twist ever, but why, especially something that big, why do people feel the need? I don't understand what goes through people's heads to think that. Obviously, you've got the people that just want to troll, and I understand that, but other than that, there's no other reason to write about it or put it on the internet. Especially when, say you go and watch it when it comes out the day after, you've got full well, unless you're a fucking idiot that not everyone has seen it yet. So
Yeah.
don't write about it, don't talk about it, leave it at least a week or two, especially something big like that. Leave it like a week or two, and then start talking about it. If people see it, and it spoils it for them, that's their own fault for not going to see it, because if they really wanted to see it, they would have already gone and seen it, do you know what I mean?
Kind of, yeah.
So
You've still got to have a little consideration.
yeah, that's why I said that's why I'm saying a week or two, depending on how big the film is. If it's a huge film like Star Wars, then I'd say definitely 2 weeks, and then you can start fucking talking about it if you feel.
Well, okay, so say you're in your just talking about it out on open Facebook, for instance.
Mhm.
Yeah, I agree. Don't do that. That's mean and nasty. You're just gonna spoil it. But if you're like talking on it on a Star Wars fan page, that sort of, I kind of think, well, what's wrong with that? That's a group of people who, okay, maybe some of them don't want to know, at which point stay away from the people discussing Star Wars.
If it's, yeah, I agree. If it's in a closed environment where everybody knows what happens, then I happily talk about it. If it's in a controlled environment where you know all the people who are going to see it, like a group chat, if you know everyone in a group chat has seen it, then you can talk about it. But if you know, yeah, and you're right. If you haven't seen the film and you're a Star Wars fan and you know on the forums they're going to be talking about it, then stay away from the forums until you've seen the show. Like, it does sometimes come down to you just need to like not do something to see a spoiler. You need to avoid.
Essentially, both sides have to be
more considerate,
careful and considerate to each other. It's not just a case of don't talk about the film. It's also a case of don't go where there's potential spoilers if you don't want to see spoilers.
Yeah, that's why I try and, like, when an episode of Game of Thrones comes out, and obviously I don't see it on the Sunday, or I'll watch it like Monday evening, I usually tend to stay off of social media because I know that even if it's not a big spoiler, I don't want to see anything because I enjoy that show so much. I don't want to see anything on it. I want to go in not seeing anything. I don't watch the promos for the next episode. So I hate myself for doing it. I hate watching film trailers because they give away, in this day and age, film trailers give away so much of the film that you go in already knowing basically the plot of the film with most trailers. I know what's going to happen. I know the order of the film, which I absolutely hate. I understand they need to market films, they need to get people in, but with things like Star Wars or Marvel films nowadays, you don't need to put trailers out because guess what? There's so many, especially Star Wars. Star Wars is so fucking huge. You wouldn't need to advertise it. They've already said, you already know The Last Jedi is coming out this Christmas. We've seen a poster for it. Unfortunately, there's been a fucking trailer, which didn't give away much, to be fair, but it still showed you parts of the fucking film. Just give us a poster for Star Wars. That's all you need. You don't need fucking anything for Star Wars. I don't think, anyway.
For Star Wars, Game of Thrones, Marvel, you're right. All you need to do is like have the title of the film on a black background would be fine to get people hyped. But I love trailers. Trailers get me so hyped for films, and okay, yeah, they quite often can reveal the entire plot of the fucking film. But for me, it doesn't matter. Now, I am careful if I see something that is likely to ruin the film, I don't look that deeply into it. But I still think trailers, they serve a purpose. There's a reason for them to exist, and it's not a case of no, don't have trailers. Trailers are bad. Trailers reveal everything. Obviously, the filmmakers need to be a bit smarter in some cases. Batman vs Superman being the big one, where you threw threw everything you had in a pot, shook it up, and threw it to the public, and then realised, oops, we've not got any surprises left.
Yeah.
I have watched the trailer for the Netflix film Bright more times than I can count. I love that trailer. I hope that film's going to be awesome. But the trailer gets me so hyped every time I watch it. And that might spoil the ending. Could very easily, but I still enjoy it.
Don't get me wrong, I enjoy, like, there have been a lot of trailers that have been like, oh my god, this is going to be so cool, and it's still, but it doesn't, I think it should just be you should just release small, like, 15-second, 30-second teasers. You don't need, big, huge IPs don't need trailers. They just don't. You don't need a 3-minute trailer revealing loads of points of the film. You just don't. I understand for things like new stuff like Bright maybe and other things. Even then you could tone it down because it's got people like Will Smith in it, so that's going to draw millions of people in anyway. But for new IPs, depending on like the actors and stuff like that and what kind of film it is, then maybe you do need a trailer. But like I said, Star Wars, Game of Thrones, Marvel, I'd say even DC now, because the likes of Batman and Superman are bigger than any Marvel hero anyway. You don't need, and I'd say it wasn't the fault of the filmmakers, it's the fault of the people that are higher up them, the men in suits that do business, that say, they don't understand. All they see is numbers. They don't see. Do you know what I mean? All they see is a spreadsheet.
Yeah.
All they go is, when we make this film, it needs to make this much money, and when we make the next film, it needs to make this much money. So to make this much money, we need to show people trailers of the film and stuff like that. We need to do all of this to make this much money. They don't think of it in the right way, and that's the problem, I think.
The funny thing is, these days they make money off of advertisement. Well, they can do.
Yeah, with you're right. With like YouTube ads.
With
like that.
YouTube,
yeah,
you're making money off of advertise. It's free advertising, and you're making money.
I just hate it. Imagine going. Adam Driver said, he said it would be really cool going into Star Wars Episode 8 if there weren't any trailers. Imagine going into a film, because I can't remember the last time it happened. Imagine going into film and not having seen any footage of it, anything at all. Imagine going into Star Wars 8 and not having seen any of the footage. Imagine that, because that's what
I haven't.
That's how it would have been before, like especially the likes of social media and YouTube, because that just, even if you're trying to avoid it, you'll still see like the thumbnails or like screenshots or like small images of what's in the film, and that still ruins it. But I think it would be cool for a film just to try it, something like Star Wars that will just make stupid amounts of money anyway, but they don't release any trailers or do anything like that. A couple of posters showing characters off and stuff like that, so people can maybe pick it and go, oh, what does this mean? What does that mean? No trailers. Imagine going into film and not having seen any footage for the film. I think that'd be nuts. You'd be surprised.
For you. See, the thing you appear to be forgetting is everyone's different.
But why would I can't fathom why if it's a film that or if you're like a comic book fan like we are, okay, and you're just 100% into comic books and you really love the Marvel films and you know you're going to see every Marvel film. You just know it because you know they're going to be good and you know you're going to enjoy it. Why would you want to see any footage anyway? If you know if you enjoy that universe and you enjoy that stuff, why would you want to ruin it and see any footage anyway? I hate myself.
Because you want to get excited.
That's the thing. I'm already. If they took it away, I wouldn't. That's the thing. If they took it away, personally, I wouldn't want them to bring it back and be like, "Oh, they need to bring trailers. I need to be hyped for this." Because I'd still be like Avengers: Infinity War. I'm still hyped for that. Whether they show, I've seen there was leaked footage out of the hall that someone recorded on their phone, and if it wasn't there, then obviously I wouldn't have seen it, and no one would have seen it. But it was there, and if it's there, it's like, well, I really want to see it because they haven't released anything for it, and I hate myself for it. But I did watch it, and it looked really fucking cool. But I wish I hadn't watched it. At the same time, I just don't think there's a need for trailers for big IPs. I think you've got a huge ensemble cast of huge actors. You've got loads of characters that people have watched over the past however many years.
Right, okay, I agree with you that you don't need them. You don't need trailers, but Lots of people do enjoy them. Me, for instance, I love watching a trailer. I love going to a cinema, right? And you watch a film, and before you see the film, there's trailers for 5 other films.
Yes.
And I love that.
Oh yeah, that's the.
I love seeing those and getting excited. Even though I'm watching one film, I'm getting excited for another film, which shouldn't make sense, but it does, and it's awesome.
So an example of a good trailer, it was more of a teaser, was for the film Interstellar.
Luke loves this film to death. I don't think you... Do you have a bad point about it?
Do I have a bad point about it? I haven't watched it recently, but off the top of my head, I can't. Maybe there are some little stupid things, but that you're gonna get that with every film. No film is 100% perfect, but that film is at the top of my list. It was a film that was every film was made for a cinema, but certain films you have to see in the cinema. And that was a film to be seen in the cinema, and that was a spectacle because of just the imagery and the sound and the way they did it. Matthew McConaughey was amazing. Anna Hathaway was amazing. They were all amazing. It was incredible, and there hadn't been anything like it beforehand that personally I'd seen. And it was just everything. It was just everything for me personally, and I think it was great. Trailer for that was great. It had compilation footage, black and white footage of people farming and building new things, and it had Matthew McConaughey talking over the top, talking about humans are pioneers and stuff like that. If you haven't seen it, go back and watch it because I think it's really good. It talks about that. Then right at the end of the trailer, you see one scene from the film where you see Matthew McConaughey's dad and his son stood out on the front porch looking over this huge cornfield they have and seeing this. At the time, you would assume that it was like a rocket or a spaceship just flying up. They just said Interstellar on screen, and that was it. That's all I saw of that. I didn't know if there were any other trailers. There might have been, but I didn't see them, and that's all I saw of Interstellar, and I was just like, yes, because it was... While I agree seeing... I don't know, so for the Batman vs Superman, they released too much, but I agree it was still fun to see Batman and Superman on the same screen fighting and stuff like that. That's still fun, but I prefer the mystery of, the Interstellar trailer. What was the film about? I knew it was something to do with space. What was the monologue that Matthew McConaughey was on about? Why is someone on a spaceship going into space? Why is there a huge cornfield? What is the setting? What is the story of the film? It was the mystery is the best part of the film. That's why I said before, I don't like knowing the ending because it gets rid of some of the mystery. Even if it's a bad or good ending, it's still, or even if it's predictable. Sorry, it's still an ending that you haven't seen and you don't know it, so you don't know how it's going to end. And I just like the mystery of things. I think it's more enjoyable and more exciting to not know as much because then it gets your imagination going, thinking, oh, what's going to happen? How's that going to work? Or is he going to get away? Is he going to do this? Is he going to be able to do that? That kind of thing. Yeah.
At which point it's back to because it is spoilers, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's as much, or in fact, it can be more on you to. If you don't want to see footage for the film, don't watch the trailer.
Yeah.
Because, I enjoy a trailer, right? So if filmmakers decided, actually, you know what, we're gonna use Luke as the main fan base for this film, and we're not gonna have any trailers for it. No one's gonna see any footage at all. I'm gonna be really pissed. Because I want to see a bit of footage. I want to see a little bit of what's going to happen.
That's why I'm saying teasers of 15 to 30 seconds. So you get a little bit of the film just so you can see and get a very, very general idea of the film, but nothing more. You just need a general idea of the film.
Yeah, that's not enough.
You don't need.
So, okay, there's another thing I love about trailers, and that's the music they put in them, right?
Oh, yeah.
Trailer music is quite often the best music ever.
It is, yeah.
Because it's made to be epic and awesome and just show off everything, or to really get people excited.
Well, yeah, it's got to sell the film, hasn't it? So
exactly. 15 seconds is not enough to get some epic piece of trailer music in. It's just not. You need more than 15 seconds to get me hyped.
That's again why I've said big IPs that I am totally always going to see can do with smaller trailers, but new IPs, okay, would maybe benefit from maybe a little bit of a longer trailer. I remember, I think it was Clash of the Titans trailer. That was pretty. I think it was Clash of the Titans. That trailer was pretty fucking cool because of the song they used, which was an instrumental version of a rock song, which was fucking awesome.
The Bird and the Worm
Bird
by
from the Worm.
The Used.
Yeah, that was cool.
Used.
That was really fucking cool. Like the music matched it perfectly.
I love that song.
Same with the Justice League trailer. Obviously, the song they've used in that is really fucking cool. The songs they've used throughout the modern DC films have been amazing. But yeah, I think short trailers and like Interstellar was just great.
At which point they need to release both. Show me some of the big action scenes so I can see the cool stuff and get excited. Show Luke absolutely nothing so that he can.
Yeah, but you say you want to see
guess.
you want to see the big fight scenes and stuff like that and action scenes. Why not?
I don't want to see the entire big fight scene, and I don't want
No.
to see the conclusion of the fight scene.
No,
But
but why
for
would you want
instance-
to see any of it? Why not leave that spectacle for the cinema?
Because it gets me excited. I told you this.
You should already be excited for the likes of like Avengers, Infinity War, Justice League, and stuff like that. Should you not?
Why?
Oh, I don't know, because it's the first time we've had Superman, Batman, Aquaman, Wonder Woman, Flash, and Cyborg on the same screen. I mean, Superman
It's
not
not.
confirmed, but it's
It's at the same time on the big screen.
on the, that's what I
So
mean.
they could easily balls it up. DC have ballsed it up at almost every opportunity so far. As much as I have enjoyed the films, they have not been anywhere near as good as they should have been.
That's because okay, yeah, they're not as good as they could
you
have
can
been. But
you
they're
can
still...
make excuses for them all you want, but they are not as good as they should have been. Not could have been, should have been.
What films could have been better?
Huh?
What films are you saying they've made that could have been better?
Batman versus Superman, Dawn of Justice could have been miles better. Man of Steel could have been
Okay,
100 times better.
how could let's start with Man of Steel? How could that have been made better?
Off the top of my head, I don't know. I can't remember it all that well, but I do remember it could have been a lot better. Should have been a lot better. The Batman trilogy, the Dark Knight trilogy, was phenomenal. And then to have
Yeah,
Superman,
but
a much
Christopher-
bigger, much...
But
Go on.
Christopher Nolan said he never wanted that to be expanded on. He wanted to make
That's
confined.
fine. That's fair enough. That doesn't mean that they shouldn't have had the director, the company, whoever shouldn't have put more effort in and made the film better. In my opinion,
So what's wrong with Batman vs Superman?
too much. It was a clusterfuck.
It had too many superheroes in it?
Too much everything. So they didn't need Doomsday. They shouldn't have had Wonder Woman. The entire thing was a teaser for Justice League. If they wanted Batman versus Superman, they should have had Batman fight Superman. Not a minute and a half of Batman kicking Superman's backside, getting a spear, then Superman goes, Martha, and everything's better.
It was they were you're right, they were making it for Justice League because they're doing something stupid and they think they have to catch up with Marvel, which they don't. Marvel are at the end of Phase 3, and while their films after Phase 3 will be great, this is like the big climax. So once that, it's going to die down a little bit, which DC should have been more patient with and gone, right, we know they're doing this, and this is coming out then. You don't know when they start production on films and stuff like that, but regardless, they shouldn't rush it, and it is blatantly obvious that they're trying to catch up with Marvel because they've rushed it. Like, I agree, Batman vs Superman was just a huge 2-hour, 3-hour long setup for making sure everything's okay for Justice League. Watching it back again, I've watched it a couple of times now. I've watched it probably more than, since it came out, I've probably watched it over 10 times, I'd imagine. I watched it quite a lot. I appreciate it more and more because I agree, like seeing the tablet with all the footage of the different heroes on, I think was just shunned in there. It was was stupid. Zack Snyder had, I can't remember his name. He had another big director on, and he just got him to film those small scenes. I think it was stupid. I think it was pointless. He didn't need that. I don't know. I don't think it's as. I think people say it's bad and give it a bad rep because of how much they fucked up the trailers and like the advertising for it.
No, I do think the film was a massive fuck up.
I don't think it was.
The trailers didn't help.
I appreciate it the more I watch it because I notice other things, and especially like the opening stuff and how it was filmed and all that, and the fact that obviously watching it at the cinema, the Martha, when Batman's about to kill Superman, he says Martha. I didn't understand that. Watched it for the second time after I bought it on Blu-ray. I didn't realise or pick up on the cinema that when Bruce's dad, what's his name? Something Wayne. What's his name?
Thomas.
Is it Thomas?
Thomas Wayne.
As he's breathing his last breath and Martha's bleeding out, he says her name, and I didn't realise that. So the second time I watched it round, I had a much bigger appreciation for it because that's why, because that kind of thing would be ingrained into your brain for the rest of your fucking life if you saw it. If you witnessed that.
Okay.
You'd be able to remember everything, and then seeing that brought towards the end, I thought was really cool. It was just little things like that I started to notice, and
see, I didn't notice that, and that makes that. See, the whole Martha and Batman stops and decides, oh, actually, you know what, we're going to be friends. Makes a little more sense now.
And I think the extended version that you can get on Blu-ray, which is longer, obviously, has
Which
lots
I've
of...
got.
Yes. I watched that and I saw lots of little bits that weren't in the film, in the cinema. And I watched it again recently on Now TV, because it was on there. And that doesn't have the extended version, and the film is made worse by the fact that it doesn't have all those little scenes in, because there are bits and it's like,
yes,
especially the when Superman was set up to have burnt down all those villagers in the theatrical cut. There's no stuff with the Clark Kent going to find the black lady that talks about Superman coming down and raining fire down. You don't find out in the theatrical cut that she was paid by Lex Luthor to do any of that. So that makes no sense at all. The extended version brings everything together and is what the film should have been, just normal. That should have been standard. All those scenes make everything make sense. In the theatrical cut, they don't talk about the fact that you don't see Lois talk to her science friend on the phone at all.
No.
So you don't know that the wheelchair had a lead lining, so Superman couldn't see it. Or anything like that. So that makes no sense at all. The extended version makes it a better film. You see all the little bits that connect. It makes it a linear line rather than the theatrical version being a line, then it's got a cut in it, like a gap, and then it's got another line, and then it makes way more sense.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. And I find it funny how much people like rip into films for their playtime, right? The extended version of Batman vs Superman, I think, adds about 15 minutes or something of added footage. You're in a cinema for 3 hours, right?
Yeah.
Who cares if you're in there for 3.25 hours? It's 15 minutes. Most director's cuts add 4 or 5. It's not huge. So why wasn't it the original cut?
Usually, with extended versions, before it was a case of they were just little bits that don't really matter, but they added them in for the DVDs or whatever just because. But for Batman, I can't think of another example. Batman vs Superman, the extended version should have been the normal version because there are so many things that tied it together that made it a better film with all the little bits that connected the dots and made everything come together. And I thought, that's that. I think it wasn't the best, but it was certainly not the worst film, and it was still fun to see, and it was really exciting as a comic book fan to see Superman and Batman fighting each other on the same screen. And obviously
there should have been a lot more of it, though.
Yeah, I thought the fighting was ridiculous, and I think Superman shouldn't have been so violent. He should have just kept talking, because he knows Batman. Before he saw that Batman had the kryptonite stuff, he knew Batman couldn't beat him, so there's no need for him to start causing violence, because obviously Batman threw out those sonic things and those machine guns, and he stopped both of them easily because he's fucking Superman.
Yeah.
I
He
think
has
he, I
fucking
think
one weakness.
I think he should have explained more. He didn't really explain anything. He didn't really talk much, which frustrates me every time I watch it. He doesn't really fucking talk about it. He doesn't fully explain what's going on. He just says, like, stop, we shouldn't be doing this. I need. He doesn't even say I need your help or something. I can't remember. But he doesn't fully explain it, and it's like, how are you going to get someone to help you when you don't fully explain the situation when you've got?
Imagine if he just started by saying, "Martha is in trouble."
You don't like him, and you've got to assume pretty much that he doesn't like you, seeing as he just used some massive fucking sonic speaker cannons on you and then 2 machine guns. He doesn't like you, so you need to explain the whole fucking situation. And if you'd done that, Superman probably wouldn't have fucking died, I'd say, because he was weakened by the spear kryptonite to begin with Batman in him and all the gas canisters. And
yeah, for one, Batman wouldn't have thrown the spear in the bloody water.
That wasn't him, that was Lois.
Oh, it was Lois. Lois wouldn't have thrown the spear in the water.
Yeah,
she wouldn't have had to.
If he had explained it properly, I know it was for the film and everything, but realistically, if he explained it properly, Batman would have said, okay, I'll come and help you. And they would have helped, and then Doomsday still probably would have come about. Then Batman could have said, oh, by the way, I've got this. I was going to kill you with it, but we can use it against him.
I can just imagine Batman there. Looks at the kryptonite spear. Looks at the big Kryptonian beast. Looks at the kryptonite sphere. Looks at the big Kryptonian beast. Aha!
And so Superman was weakened by all of that. Batman basically killed Superman. He was weakened by all the kryptonite stuff that Batman used. And then Superman gets blown up and doesn't... He comes back to life, but he doesn't allow... He only regenerates to the point where he's now healed. He doesn't allow himself more healing, so he just goes straight back down. So Batman killed Superman in that.
But that was the plan all along, so...
Yeah,
good job, Batman!
It wasn't the best, but it wasn't the worst film. Talking about films in space as well, because we were talking about Interstellar, I watched Alien Covenant again.
Again?
Yes.
You've seen it twice?
Yeah, so I went and saw it in the cinema, and I kind of forgot, really, because Prometheus wasn't that scary, it wasn't really classed as a horror. Alien Covenant,
no,
definitely a thriller/horror. Kind of forgot about that one as in the cinema, and the trailers, like, I love watching horror films because it's funny, especially watching it with people, because you're it doesn't scare me, but it makes you jump, and that's hilarious.
Right.
I don't mind watching that in my living room or an environment I can control. But watching trailers, I forgot that Alien Covenant was going to be scary. It was supposed to be a lot scarier, like the originals.
Mm-hmm.
Now, obviously, when you go and see a horror film, what trailers are you going to get before? You're going to get horror film trailers.
Yeah.
Now, clowns don't scare me, and nor do creepy little child dolls. But when they're shown to you on a huge screen in a very big dark room with surround sound, by God, are they going to scare you a little bit? Because they showed the trailer for it, and that was that was a little bit terrifying. And then they showed the trailer for Annabelle Creation, and I shit my pants because that was horrifying to watch. So I went in to Alien Covenant already tensed up, like already on edge, and I'd say up until the point they get to the Builder's Planet where David is, that film was excellent because it had me on edge, butt clenched, kind of tense moment throughout, because you knew something was going to happen with the aliens, with the xenomorphs, obviously, but it was all very not sure what's going to happen, where is this going, how is it going to happen, and then after that point, what's her face, Daniels, I think, is the one with the short hair, kind of, they're on the loader ship and the xenomorphs on it, and she kind of goes, oh fuck this, and goes out and starts attacking it. It feels like the film changed genre at that point because they weren't scared of it anymore.
Right.
And I feel like...
I've never seen it, so I don't know what you're talking about most of this. But
well, yeah, it's pretty thrillerish and horrorish up till that point, and
does it then become action?
Yeah, it becomes less scary because they stood up to the bad guy, and as soon as you stand up to the monster, it's not scary anymore because they've stood up to it. So, in a way, you're standing up to it as well because they're not scared of it. You're not scared of it. But before they were showing, they weren't xenomorphs. They were more humanoid because they stood up on their hind legs and stuff, and they were white as well, and they were a bit different. But
weren't they protomorphs?
I don't know the name of them, but
see, I watched a video because there's a whole universe surrounding Alien, which goes much more in depth than the films because there's comics and all sorts. And
yeah,
so I watched some videos on
all
that.
that stuff at the
just
beginning of the
talking
film. I'd say that's probably the first half. I'd say is scary
Right.
because they are scared of it, and the way the camera, the way they show the alien, the way where the cameras put when they're filming and stuff like that, is terrifying. They make the characters terrified, therefore you are terrified. But once she stands up to the xenomorph, it kind of flips genres, and it's like, oh well, right, it's a classic xenomorph. You've stood up to it. Not really scary anymore, which is a shame, I think. And also, we won't go into it, but the way the people get infected is really, really stupid, I think, personally. One of the guys they find the crashed, they take off at the end of Prometheus in an alien ship.
Yeah.
They find that crash one.
Oh yeah, because there were two of them, weren't there?
Well, they blew one up with a Prometheus ship, and then
Yeah.
whatever, the ginger lady, whatever, Naomi Rapace, is that her real name? Her character and the head of David get on that ship, and they want to go to the Builder's Planet. They find that ship. One of the guys, he's like, guys, look over here, and there's like these spherical bulb-like plants with a hole in the top, and he gets real fucking close to them. I'd say maybe 10 or 20 centimeters away from his face, even closer. He gets right up in their face. He pokes one, right? This is an alien planet, by the way. He pokes one, stuff spurts out, and I'm pretty sure he fucking sees it because he kind of reacts a bit. Then he sniffs, right? And then he starts falling ill, and then when they're returning back to the land that they got to the planet on, he vomits up a protomorph. And that's
nice.
And then that's how it all goes around, and then David infects. He's basically been, because he's a...
Freaky fucking android thing.
Yeah. So it was stupid how they got infected. It felt like they didn't really think about that. It's like, oh, we'll just have this character sniff this, and then one of the other characters, he stands on them by accident, which is a bit better because he doesn't fucking sniff.
You see that in the...
And it goes into his ear. But still, you think going onto an alien planet, like people coming back from space and equipment coming back from space has to be decontaminated for quite a while, and people have to spend time in decontamination just in case. Like that's the process we go through for bringing people back from a fucking space station. You'd think going onto an alien planet they'd be a little bit more careful, but no, they're basically wearing kind of casual hiking gear. You know when you're a kid, you've got those baseball caps with like the flaps that go down the back so you don't burn your neck. They're basically wearing those, and they're on an alien planet that they've never been to before, and they're just wandering around. I know they've like scanned the atmosphere, and there's they've tested it so they can breathe there, but that doesn't mean that there's nothing on that planet that can't kill you, won't infect you and stuff.
You see it in the trailer. I'm not sure where it comes in the film, but they're on the planet, and the main woman goes, "Wait, did you hear that?" And there's nothing to hear.
Yeah,
it's all very creepy, and then they carry on exploring the fucking planet. There's nothing alive on that planet, and you think you can survive it?
Well, they think there's something there because they get a rogue transmission.
It's
of a song.
Naomi Rapace saying, "Don't come here."
No,
it?
She's singing "Take Me Home, Country Roads." It's like all jangled. It's all like all janked up. But they're sat there, and then one of the characters is like tapping. He starts tapping along to it. He goes, "Take me to the place I belong, West Virginia." He's like, "Oh, that's Country Roads. I know that song. That's why they go there." But I think they make a lot of stupid decisions, which basically cause the xenomorphs to come about. So I think it's pretty stupid. Going on from that quickly, do you think aliens are real?
Yes.
I'm not just saying like the kind like on any level. Like
yes.
You think they exist? Do you think?
Yep.
They. Because the universe is a very big place. Do you think they would be on the same intelligence? Don't know how to describe it. Do you think they'd...
Do I think they're advanced or not?
No.
Not more advanced than... sentient. That's the word I was looking for. Is that what you're asking?
That, yeah? Do you think there's sentient life out there?
Yes.
Okay, 2 questions. One, there was I think it was a statement made by Stephen Hawking. If we received aliens messages, right? Because there was a message that I think to this day still hasn't been decoded, but it was a message that we received for about 7 minutes, but this was back maybe 30, 40 years ago, but it was never traced and we can never decipher it, but it was some kind of signal. Besides the point, do you think if we received alien messages, right? Do you think that we
Yeah.
should respond?
Yes.
Because Stephen Hawking, not that he's the authority on aliens, but he's well respected, said that if the cosmic phone rings, that we shouldn't answer it.
Right. Why not?
Well, I think it's based on the idea that obviously this isn't like 100% fact because we've never been visited by aliens before, but the most likely reason for an alien, imagine an alien race sending us a message to us, or even an alien race coming from wherever they've come from all the way over to our planet. They probably haven't come here for a good reason. Imagine, even though they're really advanced and they could travel across space and stuff like that, do you really think they'd waste that much time and stuff to come here just to be friends?
No.
So that
I'm sure they have another reason. Doesn't mean they can't be friends. I didn't talk to you in secondary school because I just wanted to make a friend. Right? I can't tell you why I talked to you in secondary school. I can't remember that far back. It's fucking nearly 10 years ago. Actually, it is 10 years ago.
Yeah, yeah.
But
21 now, fuck.
Your initial reason is sort of like strength in numbers, create allies, that sort of thing. It's not because I want to be nice.
Well, but for humans, it's a natural thing because we want to be in groups, and we're not programmed to be alone. So that's just naturally. But obviously, aliens would not necessarily have the same thing. And the idea is that they've come across this far because they want something from us, something that.
Maybe they don't want anything from us. Maybe they're just exploring the frickin' universe and, oh, wait, there's some people over here. Let's go see what they look like.
Yeah, I completely agree. That's completely plausible. But the idea is to not, if we receive a message, to not answer, because if they're able to send a clear message across space, they're probably more advanced than us, and the idea of that it would probably be a risk.
Everything's a risk.
You're right. There's a huge chance that it's not going to be anything like the movies, because you're right. Real life is
boring.
So they might just be explorers or stuff like that, and they just found us and they go, oh, you're sentient life. Can we come and visit you? Can we come and study your civilization, stuff like that? But then there's also the risk that if you reply to the message and they know we're here, then they can go, okay, they replied, they're there. We know a little bit about them. We know that we can vaporize their planet.
Okay.
With no resistance, or we can go and they've got loads of or we know they're not going to put up a fight, and what's the unique resource on our planet? Or humans, so we can come and just steal all the sentient life on there, or we can just go and take the resources from their planet without a fight, kind of thing.
Right. Humanity is not the only unique resource on this planet.
No, that's why I said, or other resource that they can.
Right.
They can just look and go, okay, we can just go and take that.
I think it's. Is it Battle LA? I know there were two at the same time. Basically, it premises that these aliens have come to steal our water, right?
Yeah, because they run on water. They need it, don't they?
No. Okay. What are humans mostly made of, right?
You're right. It's water.
Lots of planets in the universe do not have liquid water, from what we've seen. So it's highly likely that this is one of the only supplies of liquid water they have within feasible range. Potentially meaning that they've just come here to resupply. They want some food and some drink. What's the best way to get that? If you walk into McDonald's tomorrow, what's the easiest way to get the food from there?
Yeah, okay, it is just to ask, just to pay for it.
It's to ask and trade. You don't walk in with a shotgun and say, I could kill everyone here really easily and no one can stop me. But give me a burger. So people go... The other thing. So to reply to the message is a risk. Yeah, you're right. But so's crossing the road. You have been given that option plenty of times and you've decided that the risk is worth it. That you will cross the road, you might very well get hit by a car. If you get hit by a car, you will probably die. But you need to get to the other side of that road. So it's worth the risk.
Crossing the road is a little bit different to getting a message from an alien civilization.
No, it's not. Because if you send a message back saying hi, you are just saying that, yes, we're here. And the risk is that they will turn up with giant laser cannons and they will obliterate us. We won't be able to resist them. Mind you, I would say that we have nuclear missiles. They are pretty fucking destructive. What was I saying? It's the same kind of risk. You could die. Or it could be worth the risk and you'll get something out of it. You'll get to the other side of the road. Or we'll make some new friends. We'll share technology. We'll learn how to fly through fucking space.
I'd like to think it probably would be that. Because like you said, real life is...
Real life is boring.
All people have to go off of is science fiction. Every time in science fiction an alien race comes along, even if there's a friendly one in it, there's usually always a bad one as well.
Because, as I've told you before, no one wants to go to the cinema to watch Everyone Had a Nice Day and Lived Happily Ever After.
Not necessarily a nice day, but just everyone had a normal day.
Everyone survived and lived happily ever after.
All these aliens came. We've communicated with them. Oh, they just want to trade and study us. Okay, go back to work. You've still got to go to the call center. Okay, go home. Okay, now we've got aliens with us. To be honest, it would probably be like that because it would make sense for an alien race. So I like to think we'd do the same. It would make sense to not go around wiping other races out, but rather join up with them.
It doesn't make sense. If you found one alien race out there, the probability is there are more.
Mm-hmm.
So if you turn up to the first alien race you meet and go, die, and they die, the next alien race you turn up to might know about
That's the thing.
last guys you killed.
If they know, then
they're not going to be friendly.
Yeah. I agree. It would make a whole lot more sense to just for anyone to come along to our planet or for us to go along to any other planet and go, oh, you've got something cool that we don't know about. Do you want to show us how to do that? And then you can have, I don't know, some of our water. The thing about the water, The thing about our water is, it's not infinite.
No, of course not.
And that would be
it's 2/3 of our planet.
I know.
We can let some go.
Yeah, you're right. We could probably let a bit go.
We've got polar ice caps that we're worried about melting, right?
Mm-hmm.
And water levels rising. We have too much water, and we are scared of making more liquid water. If someone comes along and says, "I want to take some of your water," my response would immediately be, "Yes, please. We've got some frozen stuff up there. It's easy to transport."
We got some pre-packaged water on the north and the south. Go and get it.
Help yourselves.
Please take our ice cubes.
It's why I'm not worried about, but it's something I've thought about. It really, I'm going to say worried just because it's the easiest way to say it, but I'm really worried about where aliens are going to turn up. So aliens appear, they warp into our star system and they come to land on Earth. Where do they land? If they land in South America, no offense to South Americans, this is a massive generalization. I know there are lots of you who are different, but
disclaimer.
The likelihood is they're going to land and get shot at. What the fuck is that? Ma, get the shotgun! Bang, bang, bang. That's not a very nice hello.
South Americans don't sound like that. Do you mean South America's in Mexico?
No,
I mean the south of...
Sorry. I meant the south of the United States of America, not South America.
So you mean the southern states then, yeah? You mean...
Yes, the southern states.
Right. I was going to say... Sorry. Mexicans or Brazilians don't sound like that.
Mexicans, Brazilians would maybe be more accepting, although Brazil, lots of crime, lots of guns.
Yeah, but I think they'd see it as like a religious thing.
Who? The South States of America?
No, not the South States of America.
South Americans. They might do, because Mayans and such.
Well, they're heavily religious.
High evidence. They're heavily religious, and there's high evidence that they were visited by aliens. If you believe in that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's sort.
Yeah, you're right. It would be a worry.
Yes.
For where?
I'm not saying that if they landed in Britain, we would be, "Hello, would you like a cup of tea?"
That might be a good thing to do, though.
Yes.
What if we did that? What if we just went, "Hi, we're known for one thing, and that's making a good cup of tea. Do you want one?" And we gave it to them. They really liked it. They were going to come here and blow us up, but we showed them a mixture of water and tea leaves and a little bit of sugar, and they go and they taste it. Oh my god, we were going to blow you up, but we really like your tea.
You know what? We like this. Let's have some of this, and in exchange, we'll teach you how to fly space.
It'll be we could build the British Empire up again and have our tea trade going again.
Exactly. Funny thing is, the tea comes from China, but never mind.
That doesn't matter, okay?
Yeah,
China makes money, we make money, the aliens are happy, they don't blow us up.
exactly. So, there's no way of predicting how this is going to go. Yes, we could say hello to aliens and they come and blow us up. But are you really going to risk, or are you really going to deny the chance to meet alien races because they might kill us?
That's the thing, the risk and reward are both very great. The risk is you wipe out the human race if you respond. The reward is we might have our technology just leap like 100 years ahead of what it already is, like super quickly.
Also, fuck technology. We get new friends and get to experience new culture.
But the technology is a big thing as well, like being able to fly in space.
Yes, no, of course it is. But like, there are other benefits. And additionally, you're assuming that their technology advanced in a weaponized direction as well.
Well,
Huh? You said they'll turn up, and if they're advanced enough to travel through space, they can probably obliterate us. Maybe not. They might be pacifists who have just learned to fly through space and have no idea what the hell a weapon is. You point a gun at them and they go, "Oh, what an interesting hairdryer."
That's the thing.
For instance,
our imagination can extend past what we already know. So when you go watch sci-fi and stuff like that, like example Star Wars. Star Wars has like loads of scenes. They have like loads of different styles of aliens, which is really cool and they're really good at it. But it's all based off something that is on Earth or they've seen on Earth. They've just taken it and remodeled it.
I was about to say, how many of those aliens have 2 legs, 2 arms, and a face?
I was going to say they're usually humanoid or they're animal-like, animalistic.
Yeah,
that's the only 2 things they can be. So when I say that these aliens are probably going to come across space and blow us up, it's only because I'm basing it off of the imagination of sci-fi you've seen and the fact that that's how humans have evolved. We evolved and we like to fight. So the imagination goes to, well, if aliens are going to travel across space, they'll probably come and blow us up. Well, no, they could evolve in a completely different way, and violence is, like you said, not a thing at all.
Exactly.
And they come across and they just want to meet us. They're just exploring. They go, "You're another sentient race. We finally found someone else after traveling so many light years." Or blah blah blah.
We've travelled through space so long, and we finally found you, and we shoot them in the face.
I think that is the bigger worry, that we'd react violently.
Yes.
And it would cause them to. Because imagine if they were explorers or pacifists and they came to our planet and we shot at them and there was a bigger galactic like society out there and they went back and went, "Guys, this sentient life, we went to their rock and they shot at us," and that might cause other ones to go, right, or they go, "Your race has got guns, right? Can you go and like shoot back?"
Okay, what happens if you're at a club and someone punches your friend?
You're gonna punch them back.
You go and punch that guy in the face. So we shoot an alien race. They go back to their galactic club and they go, "They hit me!" And then all the other big scary aliens that have advanced in the weapons department come and say, "Well, fuck you," and they blow us up.
Yeah. I was gonna say, I think if it was a case like that where it wasn't just one other civilization, it was a civilization that came and found us and it was part of a bigger galactic council, I think it would show us even more how unimportant we are. It's the same in... I think about it when I watch Rick and Morty on the season finale of Season 2 when Earth gets taken over by the Galactic Federation or Galactic Council, whatever it's called.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, for all those years previously, they either didn't know about Earth or they didn't care for Earth, but I would assume that they didn't know about it, because otherwise they probably would have been part of the Federation.
And they wouldn't have been so... They wouldn't have taken over so quickly if they didn't care.
And I think that would show us, if it was a part of a bigger galactic society, how unimportant we actually are, because there'd be heads of this galactic council, or whatever you want to call it, wherever it would be called, or something, or however it would be formed. I think it would show us how unimportant we are. Because we think...
Yes.
Lots of people don't think beyond this planet. They think it's everything and it's always going to be everything, which is not the case. and meeting an alien race would show us, would show us how unimportant we are and how almost unspecial we are, because we haven't met any other.
I'm not sure that's the right way to think about it. We're not unimportant, and we're not special. It might be a case of every other race in the universe is human.
That would be fucking
at which
weird.
point we would at which point we would really be not special. But you're right. It would be quite an eye opener when all of a sudden we actually have to answer to someone bigger than us,
and for our world, metaphorically, to expand beyond our solar system, like literally.
Yes.
Like we've come from this solar system that's just over yonder. It's like, oh my god, we're like our neighborhood is just expanded by a couple hundred light years or whatever, a couple of tens of hundreds of light years.
I'm trying to think of how big a light year is. I think light can get to Alpha Centauri in a year, which is the closest galaxy next to us.
That's pretty close. Like, I mean, comparatively to I know the next galaxy, but
yeah, I was gonna say it's not fucking close. You'd have to go at 3.0 times 10 to the 24 meters per second for a year. So we're talking the fastest known speed possible for an entire year to get to the nearest galaxy.
Or you could go faster and cut that time down.
Or you could try and go faster than the speed of light. As far as we know now, break the universe. It's a bit like, so it's something I find interesting because I'll start this again. Okay. I find it interesting, like the speed of light, because my dad and I were watching The Martian the other day. And have you seen The Martian?
Is that the one with Matt Damon stuck on Mars growing potatoes?
Yes. They point out at a couple of points that if Matt Damon wants to send a message to Earth, it takes 32 minutes to get here.
Right.
And then it takes 32 minutes from reply to get back. And there is no way to speed that up currently by our current laws of physics, right?
Yes.
We are so used to instant communication. This, for instance, I'm talking to you over Skype, and it's practically instantaneous.
Right.
You are... And I can do that to the other side of the world, right?
Yes.
And that's
magical.
not even with signals moving at the speed of light.
Yeah.
But then you talk about those distances, and it takes 32 minutes for a signal to get there, going at the fastest speed we know possible.
Yes.
That baffles me.
It is. It's because we're not, like you said, we're not used to it. We're used to all this instant stuff because the world has been wired up so that everything is instant. And it is weird. As soon as we go out of basically our comfort zone and our normal zone, everything takes longer or is stuff like that because it's not what we're used to. And I was gonna say something about it was about people think that because for most people's lifetimes or for everyone's lifetimes that's ever been, Earth has just been, they've lived there and they've died there, and it makes people well, they have.
Yeah, I know.
And it makes people think
where else did they die?
Earth is, people need to be taught and need to start thinking on a bigger scale because Earth isn't going to be around forever, and if I'd like to think that everyone wants to survive, then we'd have to start moving off. Because I remember watching stuff on like Discovery Channel, like space stuff, because I thought it was interesting. It taught me a lot more than science classes ever did. Talking about that this is a fair way off mind. We'll probably be long dead unless we inherit superpowers or something like that. Like hundreds of millions of light years off, but the fact that Andromeda, our Milky Way and Andromeda Galaxy are going to clash eventually.
Yep.
And it's going to be destructive and it's going to be horrible. And either, if we're in the middle, we'll get sucked in by two black holes, which would be horrible. Or if you don't do that, then you'll just be flung off into space because of the tail ends being kind of whipped out as they collide. So Earth would basically be tossed out into just blackness. And
which would be really, really fucking bad.
Even if like that's hundreds of millions of light years, not light years, just hundreds of millions of years away, billions of years. But hearing that now is still terrifying because it breaks the idea of Earth being a constant, because it is a constant in our life. It was here when we were born, and it's been up. It's also here now, and it's gonna sustain itself, hopefully, until I die.
Long past we die.
But yeah, hearing that stuff, we're hearing like, after so long, our sun is basically going to just eviscerate us in a big, horrible wave of destruction. When it dies, and just hearing that stuff now is kind of like, oh, this is supposed to be a constant, and
and that's all very worrying, except for the fact when you think of how quickly our technology is advancing.
Yeah, it's just hearing that something's going to end that you don't think will end.
Yeah.
The Earth. There's no talk of the Earth. Well, I mean, it's in pretty dire shape at the moment, but there's no talk of the sun, like it being like instantly just destroyed. But then hearing that stuff about either being sucked into 2 black holes, or being flung out into the darkness of space, or the sun eviscerating the planet in however many years, it's just like, oh, that's that because humanity hasn't spread past Earth. That is weird. This is our everything, just this one planet, and for it to just be eviscerated in just a moment, it's just kind of like, oh, there goes
right.
everything.
Pretty sure eviscerated is not the word for this.
Eviscerated.
I'm pretty sure eviscerated is having your organs removed, effectively.
Eviscerate.
Okay, you do. I won't.
I'm gonna bet you. Well, I mean,
go on. What's the meaning of eviscerated?
In surgery, it's to remove the contents of the eyeball. It is disembowel a person. But I'm pretty sure that being sucked into a black hole, your organs might be dragged out of you.
Being sucked into a black hole, you will be compressed.
At which point your organs would explode out of you, therefore you'll be eviscerated.
No, you will be compressed. Your entire body would be put into a much smaller volume. You can't survive that happening, by the way. It won't just be like being shrunk.
Being black holed is you get spaghettified, don't you? Get pulled.
What?
Because the difference,
actually, yeah,
the difference
you're right.
in gravity. If your feet go in first and your head's back,
your feet would accelerate
more than your head
quicker.
would, so just be stretched.
Yes, you're right. Your organs still wouldn't explode out of you, but basically your feet accelerate quicker than the
because the gravity acting on them is more than the gravity acting on your head, and
so you accelerate. Oh, yeah.
I like the idea of, because if you see someone go into a black hole, they get to I can't remember what the outer point is called.
Event horizon.
That's it. Once they get to that, they would stop, and then their image would just slowly fade. I imagine that'd be really fucking weird to watch.
You don't say.
Imagine just seeing someone move into move into a point, and then just them stopping and nothing moving, and just the light just slowly fading, so they just stop existing. That'd be weird to watch. You have seen Interstellar, haven't you?
Yeah.
What did you think about the ending? Because lots of people didn't like it, because the film was, to a certain extent, fairly realistic throughout, and then it got to that end point.
They went through a fucking wormhole.
He didn't go through a wormhole. He went through. Okay,
yeah,
the wormhole bit. You're right.
But
what do you think about the black hole stuff and all that stuff in between? Because it was a case of, we don't know what happens. We've got an idea. They thought about it. Some men and women probably have sat down and they thought about it and gone, looking at that would probably happen. We don't know what would happen, but people were annoyed.
Are you talking about the time dilation and relativity?
No. What, when they're like landing on the planet and coming back?
Yeah.
No. People,
time is accelerated.
No, people had a problem with Matthew McConaughey sliding into a black hole and all that stuff that happened in it and all that stuff that happened around it. What did you think about it? Did you think that was too ridiculous? Did you think?
Yes.
You thought it was too ridiculous?
I thought that was too ridiculous. I thought, for the film, perfectly fine. Yeah, alright. I can suspend my disbelief for this one, and this is a good film. In reality, no, fuck off. Unless, so they decided that some aliens had put that.
It wasn't.
wormhole.
No, it wasn't aliens. It was a future version of themselves. I'm pretty sure they come to the conclusion of.
Really?
It wasn't an alien race. Yeah, I'm fairly sure. You will have to. Don't, again, disclaimer. Don't quote any of us on anything we say. but I'm pretty sure they figure out that it's a super advanced race of version of humanity. I'm fairly certain that's when it comes back round. That's what it comes back round to. We humans did it in the
Either
future
way,
to save ourselves.
Someone better than us
Yes.
created a wormhole to take us to a potential
Habitable planet.
Do they take us to Andromeda, or is it just a random?
No, I think it's just somewhere
Galaxy.
else in our galaxy we found
Right.
potential planets.
At which point, fair enough. And him falling into the black hole and going into the weird 4-dimensional space, I would happily accept the justification of the alien race or the advanced race did that.
Mhm.
They sent him there using their wormholey technology, or that he, I don't know, was accelerated through time. The fact that the black hole took him to 4-dimensional space, I didn't like. I couldn't swallow that.
That's what people have a problem with. But I think it comes down to the fact that we've been told that something might happen a certain way when you get sucked into a black hole. So as soon as that didn't happen when Matthew McConaughey went into it, I think people like turn their nose up at it. You know, like, oh, that's not happen. That's not what would happen if you go into a black hole. Well, you know, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Have you jumped into a black hole recently and found?
No, but you're asking me to base my belief off of something I have no experience or understanding of. I can't do it.
No,
So saying that anything other than being crushed or stretched to death would happen if you entered a black hole, I'm sorry, but the way my brain works is based off the understanding I currently possess, and from that I say no. You go splat.
No, I'm not saying that. I agree. I agree that the likelihood of someone going into a black hole is that you're just gonna be squished. You're just gonna be. You're
not gonna survive.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. I just think like the people couldn't get past that. People were saying, oh, that wouldn't happen. That's totally unrealistic. Well, okay, yeah, probably you would get crushed or spaghettified or whatever. You're gonna die as soon as you get past the event horizon. That's it. But I still think use like your imagination a little bit. Surely.
It's a film.
I know, but
it's called suspension of disbelief. Yeah, no, I agree with you there.
That I think, well, why couldn't the idea is why couldn't that happen? That maybe that does happen, and maybe one day we'll find out that it isn't just, or go with what Sheldon says, and it's a little man with a torch looking for the breaker switch because the light's gone off.
Sorry?
In Big Bang Theory, he says he's talking to Penny about something, and she says something stupid, and he's like, well, yeah, and we find that in a black hole it's just a little man with a torch looking for the breaker switch.
Oh, no, okay, nice. But yeah, no, you're right. Potentially, if we're suspending our current understanding, a black hole could accelerate you through the boundaries of space into a fourth dimension, another dimension, whatever it is. Yeah, sure, that's perfectly possible, plausible. I can live with that.
I'm glad you agree. So on that,
we don't know.
No, we really don't know, and we won't find out anytime soon because there aren't any black holes that I can jump into or have access to. So on that note, if you want to go and jump into a black hole and tell us what happens, please do, because I'm interested. Stop watching trailers. Keep watching Game of Thrones because it's amazing. And if the aliens ring you, probably don't pick up. Maybe I'm not sure about that. Just if
tell us, we'd like to pick up the phone.
Yeah. Call us and we'll pick up the phone. We'll have a conversation.
It.
But don't you risk your little socks off worrying about an alien calling you. So, like the podcast if you liked it, and comment for any topics that you want us to talk about, and share this. Obviously, share it with your friends so they can listen to us talk for an hour and 40 minutes about stuff.
Share it with your enemies if you want, so they can be annoyed by our droning voices and off-topic conversations.
I've been Luke.
I've been Jacob.
And goodbye.
Bye.